Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. You never know what tomorrow may bring. That's why it's important to get the right insurance coverage today. At Kentucky Farm Bureau, we deliver the protection and peace of mind your family deserves. In fact, we've been providing folks in the bluegrass with dependable service since 1943. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
It's going. Somebody straggled in here. He just wandered into the podcast room.
And his name is Timmy because it's
a Tim Thornberry Tuesday.
Timmy
Tuesday. How's it going?
I wonder a lot. I have to address this first. I heard in a previous podcast you were talking about me.
Yeah,
I know it was all good.
Yeah.
Why would it be anything else?
We always say nice things about our journalist, our lead writer, our editor,
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Local Santa Claus.
Our Timfluencer, our everything. Tim Thornberry. We always say nice things.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for being here. You have this is the, for people that don't understand, this is a good day. This is the day or so after annual meeting. We're all, just like,
Hallelujah.
right? Yeah. The meeting, happened and everything was fine and everything's great. And now we're in that, for me, there's something about the Friday, Saturday of our annual meeting where it kind of feels like the start of Christmas for me. It's a lot of people like to start in May for some reason. It seems like it's all the time now. But for me, it's really that that Friday night, we have that president's reception, we have some of these things.
We had a North Pole this year.
Right.
There was an area, and it was the North Pole. So if you feel like it's Christmas, it's probably because literally Christmas was in the Galt House.
Christmas was in the Galt House.
It was cool.
So Tim has
That's me.
Yeah. is our lead editor. He's the guy that makes the magazine. You have a double issue.
We do. November, December is a combined issue, and we sort of make it our kind of holiday-ish kind of, magazine that we put together. This one's a little different. We've told our folks we've got a little different format, more pages to this one, but very much the same type thing as we always do with that wonderful magazine.
Yeah, it hits the doorstep of all of our members too,
yes,
which is really
everyone
cool.
Everyone will get one.
Yeah. So you have a little bit more Christmas, a little more just kind of regular Joe stuff in this one, but you have a particular article that's kind of neat. I think people are going to look forward to getting into this.
This will be the second time that we have talked to folks with the Kentucky Historical Society. And this time we're talking about Christmases of past time, long ago out in the rural parts of the state, which,
that's us.
200 years ago, It was all rural mostly. And it's interesting to talk. I should tell you, we talked to a young lady. Her name is Alyssa Ollier. And Alyssa, if I messed your name up, I'm sorry. But she is a digital archivist at the Kentucky Historical Society, and she has all these things that she, from time gone by, whether it's Christmas or whatever, that she takes care of. And first off, it's amazing what they have down there. It's at the History Center in Frankfort. Sort of the collections that they have is truly amazing.
Yeah.
So we talked about some of the traditions of long ago. Fruitcake being one of them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How do we feel about fruitcake?
How do I feel about fruitcake? It's not for me. It's pretty good.
I love that I started that with you, so you had to awkwardly be the first one to say that stuff is no bueno.
We did a story on the Yosemite monks make a lot of fruitcakes, and that's a big part of their money making for their thing. Yeah. That was for Bluegrass and Backgrounds years ago.
Do you like fruitcake, Tim?
Love it. One of the reasons.
You should have started with him.
I should have.
One of the reasons, obviously, that it was something done back so many years ago is because it would keep so well.
That right there does not intrigue me. So my mama, my dad's mom, who is 99 this year, she will be 100 in January.
Very cool.
Yeah, it'll be my second 100th birthday party I've been to, which honestly is kind of cool. But anyway, she had a fruitcake recipe and never wrote it down or whatever, wrote it down, it didn't work. You know, nobody can do it the same. And so I have an uncle who is just determined that he is going to make, and every year he brings like 3 or 4 loaves and he's like, come on, Mama, how am I doing? And she's like, I mean, I think it's good. Everyone else tries it and they're like, nope, not there. So I don't personally like fruitcake, but I enjoy the fruitcake competition that is Christmas. So I'm going to be intrigued with the history of like having that as one of the traditions.
You know, she talked about some of the collection they have. They have old letters that children had written to Santa Claus.
Oh.
That's cool.
And old Christmas cards. As a matter of fact, of course, by the time you hear this, it won't be a secret. But we used one of the old Christmas cards on the cover of our November-December magazine.
Yeah, I think it's a neat. You've done 2 years in a row now, kind of a unique
something different
Christmas cover. He had a painting last year and this year. So.
This year.
Yeah, it's a cool
little history lesson there.
Yeah.
And just a lot of neat things, that go way back. And some of those traditions, we still do today. And so that was kind of neat to know that, some of those things have hung around, like fruitcake.
Maybe the same loaf because it's apparently shelf stable. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Its shelf life is really good.
I think it's neat. I believe our membership, rural Kentucky, maybe that's a Southern thing, maybe that's a Kentucky thing. We just really hone into tradition, whether that's basketball, whether that's holiday traditions. I just think it's very neat. And so a chance to hear and get some people that are my age to kind of remember where some of this stuff came from or how long it's been happening, I think will be kind of cool. It might keep some of it going too.
One of the things that she said that really intrigued me, she said, obviously, back in the day, most of the work in rural Kentucky, it was on farms, and people worked and really worked hard. And Christmas was a day to relax and to rest and to worship and to just take pause to be together. It was about family. Mm-hmm. We didn't have all the football and basketball games on television. And she said something about rejoicing and having good food together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I think this is a neat article. I think folks are gonna really, really like it. It's also a neat podcast. You have these folks on here today. So I think people are gonna really enjoy this interview.
Take a little trip back in time.
Yeah.
Man, with that, how can we keep this going any longer? All right, without further ado, I'm Renee Carrico.
I'm Matt Hilton.
I'm Santa Claus.
Let's get rural.
First off, Alyssa, thank you so much for doing this today. Tell me what a digital archivist does.
Sure. So it's a little bit different at every place you go, but here at KHS, my role is primarily to digitize archival material. So we have a large archival collection. We have thousands of manuscripts, books, diaries, letters, photographs, things like that. And it's my job to use technology to put them online so people can access them all over the world for free. So it's really exciting to get to work with original material, but also work with technology.
And we're recording this today here at the Kentucky History Center. This is a jewel here in the state. I know. I've been around since it was built. Tell me a little bit about that. We'll talk about Christmas in just a little bit.
Sure.
But I want to know a little bit about this place and what a resource it is for people that want to know history of Kentucky.
Sure. Yeah. So the Kentucky Historical Society, we're a lot of things. So we're sitting in the History Center. This building opened in 1999, but KHS KHS has been around since the 19th century, so we go back a long time. We actually manage 3 campuses here, so this building, and then we also manage the old state capitol, which was our Capitol building before our current Capitol building that some people call the new state capitol, even though it's from 1910 or so. And then we also manage the Kentucky Military History Museum, which is in the old Arsenal building up the hill here in Frankfort. And we have a lot of things. We have a large museum collection filled with thousands of objects. We have that archival collection, like I mentioned. We have a genealogical research library. And we also have many exhibits here you can go see, amongst other programs and different things that we do throughout the year.
Most of which are accessible by our citizens, correct?
Yes, yeah, we are for everyone here in the Commonwealth. So we are open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and we encourage everyone, if you haven't been here before, to come see us. We've just got so many exciting things going on, especially as we get into the holiday season. We've got a lot of different tours and different events. There's always something going on, especially if you've been here before. There's always a new thing to come see as well.
Well, it is a beautiful place. I've been here many times for meetings and events and everything, so it's a great place. Now, let's talk about Christmas.
Sure.
The story that we're doing now, this will obviously appear as a story in our magazine as well, in our Christmas edition. And we want to talk a little bit about traditional things. Let's go back in history to talk a little bit about some of the Christmas traditions that were around in earlier times. Mm-hmm. And you've got some stuff here. Stuff's not the right word, but you've got some things here that relate to that, correct?
Yes, we do. So both in our object collection and our archival collections, we do have many things related to kind of historical Christmas. So on the object side, we have many historical Christmas gifts, so things people gave each other as presents. We have a lot of old Christmas cards. We've got Christmas Carol sheet music. A couple of my favorite items, we even have letters to Santa from Paul Sawyer's nephews in the collection. So when they were little boys in the 1890s, we have their handwritten letters to Santa Claus where they're asking for things like a sled or a kitty cat or new boots, things like that. So just all kinds of fun things in the collection.
Kentucky, even though we're in the capital city here, Kentucky's really a rural state. We've got some big fine cities out there, but for the most part, we're a rural area. So let's step back in time, a farm, say, or a rural area back as many years as you want to go back. What did Christmas look like from the sense that you see now? What did it look like then?
Sure. So I think today people are kind of familiar when they think of Christmas, it's the toy catalogs and Amazon shopping and kind of the hustle and bustle. But you go back to rural Christmas, you get a much more kind of home-based, gathered around a hearth, family spending time together. A lot of rural Kentuckians, they worked on their farms, they worked out in fields, a lot of hard manual labor throughout the year. But Christmas was really a time to take a break, to rest, to have that kind of one day to come together and pause in the work and just kind of rejoice in a bright day in kind of a dark, cold winter, rejoice in good food together and decorations and giving gifts to celebrate, primarily the birth of Christ. That kind of more religious Christmas was kind of more prominent than it might be today in certain places, but also just a sense of good cheer and time together.
Of course, now the Christmas season begins in July, I think.
Just about, it feels like. It gets earlier and earlier every year.
And of course, it wouldn't be Christmas unless we had a big furniture sale or something like that going on. But have you found in your research that you've done that we still celebrate in a lot of ways today, or we've carried over some of those traditions?
Yeah, there are some things that have definitely kind of stuck around. So, kind of before you could go to Walmart and buy a plastic Christmas tree and things, people would decorate with things they found out in the natural world. So, firs, greens, holly, mistletoe, rosemary, things like that. And that's definitely hung around. Every year you get, Boy Scouts selling, handmade fresh wreaths. We still love that kind of natural element to Christmas in a certain way. There's also a lot of Christmas carols that we still sing that you'll hear on the radio or in church or amongst friends that date back very far and could be found amongst a lot of rural communities. So things like the Cherry Tree Carol, like Gene Ritchie has a good version of that. that. That's actually a kind of popular Kentucky carol that has very ancient roots.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah, so Gene Ritchie, so it's one of
Do
her,
you know it?
I do know it. Yeah.
Could you sing it?
Oh gosh. Oh, I don't know if people want to hear me sing.
Just kidding, but
it's
one of those things maybe
Yeah.
we don't know about that we could find out here, right?
Yes, yeah, we have a lot of records like that you could find out. But yeah, different folk songs we still sing, and I think the core elements of rural Christmas are still around. The idea of giving gifts. We might not be giving the same types of gifts, but we're still wanting to honor each other through that gift giving, and then we still like to come together and have good food. So.
Speaking of food,
yes,
it is really one of my favorite subjects. What would a Christmas, say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, look like here in Kentucky when you sit down at the Christmas table? What would that look like?
Yeah, so we have a lot of historic cookbooks here. So I was kind of looking through some old recipes to get ready for this. It looks a little bit different. So primarily, a lot of the desserts are going to be things like fruitcake, things with a lot of dried fruit or citrus peel, things that were that could keep really well or that you only got once a year, sugar and spices, which would be kind of saved up and used to make a really good Christmas cake, sometimes with alcohol, maybe some Kentucky bourbon in there. And then also a big part of rural Christmas time, especially in different places where hog raising was popular. December, so between Thanksgiving and Christmas, was hog slaughtering time, hog killing time. And that actually has medieval roots, kind of December being the time for that has ancient custom attached to that.
Sure.
So of course, hog slaughtering time, you've got pork fat, you've got lots of yummy, delicious pork. So hams, things made with pork fat would be very prevalent on the table. I found a recipe for, I think it was cracklin bread. So it was a bread, but that was made with cracklin mixed into it. And I thought that sounds really good, actually. I think I'd like to try that.
I think we need some of these recipes.
I think
that
so.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and typical Kentucky foods, beaten biscuits, things like that, all kind of show up on these rural Christmas tables.
Do you find that people want to journey back? Do they ever ask for recipes or things like that they want to try something today that maybe their ancestors had?
Yeah, people get really excited about it. We've often talked about having a program, maybe we do some historical cooking or something like that. And there's a lot of good kind of modern cookbooks that are kind of reinterpreting these old historical recipes. So we do get a lot of interest in how people used to cook. It's very different, but they're really good sometimes when you take the time to make them.
Now, I must admit, I do like fruitcake. I know a lot of people go, oh, no, not fruitcake, but I'm sort of a fruitcake fan.
I think you either are a fruitcake person or you're not. It's kind of a very divisive food, I think, but a lot of historical cakes resemble fruitcake in one way or another.
So there you have it. That's all you fruitcake haters out there now. You've got to do some love on some fruitcake. It's wonderful, and it's a tradition. So much of whether it's our Christmas holiday or special events are based on tradition, and I suppose you see a lot of that here. Traditional things that maybe a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, I think being a genealogical library, we get a lot of people, and we're also a historical library, but a lot of our patrons are coming here to trace their Kentucky roots. They want to find out about how their ancestors lived, and that's very important to them. And that idea of passing down the same things from generation to generation to know that you're still doing it the same way that your great-great-great-grandfather did, that's really special to a lot of people. And that's the fun of working in a historical place, is that you sometimes will have kind of the letter or the diary that says, yeah, this is how people did this. Look, they wrote about it, and you can read about it right here. And you can bring it into your own life and make that connection through history.
I remember as a child, my mother used to, when people mailed Christmas cards, they don't do a lot of that anymore, but maybe some people do. All the Christmas cards that we would get, she would put a little piece of tape on them, and she would put them on a door seal, around the door frame. And by the time Christmas was here, the door frame was full of cards. And that was one of our traditions. I just wonder, how old are Christmas cards? Do you know anything about that here? Have we seen anything?
Yeah, so the collection, the Christmas cards in our collection go back to about the Victorian era, so kind of turn of the century, around 1900 or so, I think is our earliest card, and into the 1930s and 40s for sure. The concept of kind of the mailed Christmas card came about with kind of commercial printing. So the kind of late 1800s, Industrial Revolution, it's suddenly easier to print a whole bunch bunch of cards. But people often before that would send, Christmas letters and things too. Christmas was a time to reconnect with loved ones who may be away or who were traveling or away at war during wartime and things like that. And the design of the cards has changed a lot too. We've got some pretty wacky ones, I think.
No, go to the local Hallmark store and you'll see all kinds of cards.
That's true.
I would suppose at this time of year, probably throughout the year, but maybe at this time of the year, do you get a lot of requests for things that are related to Christmas or story ideas? Maybe they want to read stories about a Christmas or something.
We do, yeah. So we get all kinds of requests all throughout the year, but we do tend to see trends that kind of go along with holidays and things. We'll often do little Christmas exhibits or things that go along with our tours. We'll decorate the old state capitol for Christmas, and so we get a lot of people around that time excited about Christmas. Our librarian likes to put out a display of all of our Christmas-related books around Christmas time, so we'll decorate the library. And actually, here's a tradition for you. My favorite tradition here at KHS is every year I build a Christmas tree out of library books, and I display it right here in the research library. So I'll be doing that again this year. If you've never seen my book tree, come on down and take a look at the latest iteration in December.
I think we need a photo of that. How soon do you start putting that together?
I usually put it up around the first week of December, but we usually post a photo of it as well. But that's something that we like to do for fun. But yeah, we like to help people connect with their Christmas traditions and just kind of fun old Christmas things of the past. Yeah.
From your standpoint, how important it is to make those connections that folks, whether they're more my age or much younger, why is it important for them to connect to their past?
Yeah, I think it's everything. I think for me, getting into history makes me realize that, we think of history as this thing in history books, or we read about it in school and people think it might be kind of boring or dusty. But when you actually look at things like an old Christmas toy or an old Christmas card or recipe books that are kind of written in, you realize that people in history were people. They were just like me. They're just like you. They had hopes and dreams and struggles. They're silly, they're funny, and you can really get close to them through these historical artifacts. And to me, it makes history come alive. It's not something that just happened and is over. We're living in history right now. And so that's what I love about my job, is kind of making that connection. And I think everybody should do that because it's really magical.
Are you saved? Do you save? Do you think about that? That brought up a question just in my mind just then. What about the future? I mean, we talk about a lot of, there's a lot of older photos around and things here to see from the past. In 50, 60 years, this will be the past. So do you save a lot of things that are going on now for the future?
Yeah, that's a really good question, especially for someone in my job. So as we all know, most of the stuff that we make now is digital, right? People aren't really taking and printing physical photos too much. It's all on our phones. All of our letters, they're actually just emails or text messages. We're not really handwriting things. We don't have a lot of paper to save. And so one of the challenges of my job is to figure out, how do we save digital things for the future? So that's a kind of a new frontier that we're trying to figure out as archivists and develop tools to do that. But I encourage people, since, we're still working on how to preserve digital things, so whenever possible, make hard copies of stuff. Print out your photos, label them, say who's in them on the back, write down your recipes on physical cards and add your own notes in the margins. All that stuff is going to last a lot longer than any of the digital stuff that we've got going on, I think. And it's definitely a safer bet. Not that digital's bad. I love digital things. There's a lot of good benefits to it, but there's nothing like that kind of stuff in your hand.
You heard that now, I'm a fan of the written letter, the written piece, things like that, even though I rarely do it. I do it all on a computer these days, but I print a lot of stuff. So I guess that was one of the great things that we learned from the past. They did save those. They had written, they didn't have those computers or recorders or all that stuff 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago for that matter. So lucky for us that people in those times had the foresight to save that information for us in written form or some other art or something like that. Is that?
Yeah, and that's how we get collections, right? So we get a lot of phone calls. You were asking about kind of what people ask us. People kind of assume that we have everything on everything that has ever happened in Kentucky ever.
I did.
And I wish we did. I really do. But we're kind of at the mercy of the past, right? We're at the mercy of what did people keep and what got passed down and what made it into our hands here at KHS. We rely on donations to kind of build up our collections, and a lot of the stuff that we're interested in now, like an old Christmas card or a recipe, most people just kind of throw away. And so it is a kind of quirk of history, a little bit of serendipity, the way that we get the things that we have. So, when you're thinking about the future, maybe think about, you don't have to save everything. You don't have to save every single Kroger receipt or things like that. But if you have something that's important to you that you want your family to know in the future, then come up with a way to save that and organize it so it can be passed down.
Do you think that when people talk about history, whether we're talking about the Christmas season or whatever it is, they're thinking of historical people? They don't necessarily think about something I have could be of significance in the future. Do you hear a lot of that, or do you think about that much?
Yeah, and I think our collections are kind of a testament to that, because we have things from great figures. We have things related to Isaac Shelby and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. But a lot of our collections are also just everyday people, and those are really important. They give you an idea of not just what happened during the big events, but what happened during daily life. How did people live in 1810? How did people live in 1790? Just the everyday scraps of life are actually really important to us to kind of figure out those stories and to be able to tell them well. So, we may not all be great figures, but we all are important and we're all part of history.
Well, I think that's some of the best news I've heard in a long time. I think it's everybody's important. Everybody has a story to tell.
Yes.
And, somewhere in the future, maybe their story will show up here. Do you
I hope so. Yes.
Well, one more question.
Sure.
Is there anything in your mind related to past Christmases that sticks out that you found, or something that's been donated to you, or something you have in a collection?
Ooh, like something in the collection. Let's see. That's a good one. I think, those Christmas letters are definitely fun. I think, here's a story. So we're all kind of, if you're in Frankfurt, you're familiar with Paul Sawyer and his kind of watercolor paintings that he did. We have the Paul Sawyer Public Library. But what people might not know is Paul Sawyer actually came from a family of artistically inclined people. So not only did Paul do art, but so did his sister and his father. So his father actually gave up his dreams to be an artist in order to become a doctor to support the family. But here in the collection, we actually have a sketch that Paul Sawyer's father did of Santa Claus coming down the chimney for the children that they saved and held on to all these years in a family scrapbook. And it's a beautiful, beautiful drawing. It's damaged somewhat, so you can't see the whole picture, but you can definitely tell how skilled Paul Sawyer's father was. And so you kind of get this idea of traditions being passed down, of skills being passed down in a family, which, gives us the amazing Paul Sawyers we have today, but if he hadn't been kind of trained and educated by his family, and they all, shared things together in their home, we wouldn't have what we have now. So I just think that sketch is just so beautiful, and it's just one of my favorite things in the collection.
I would love to see that.
Sure thing.
It would be phenomenal. Okay, as we wrap up, things that are going on here at the History Center coming up through the holiday season. Mm-hmm. Anything that you want our listeners or readers to know about? Yeah,
let's see. So we're going to be, every year we decorate the old state capitol with kind of Christmassy decorations. We try to make it that kind of historical 19th century Christmas. So please come see us. We've got some events for candlelight coming up here in November in Frankfurt. We'll have a holiday tour that runs several times. So check our website. So our website is history.ky.gov. That's the word history.ky.gov. And we post our events there every week, so you can keep up with what's going on here.
Well, I'm one to tell you, if you've never been here, you need to come here. It is a fantastic place to revisit a lot of things that have happened in this state. And I think you'll be surprised at some of the things you'll find. Alyssa, thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it so much.
Of course.
And a little Merry Christmas early.
Merry Christmas a little bit early.
Thanks.